And we continue in the show Maduro Más, where we are now in the segment digital area, in which this humble servant that is literally just coming down from the airplane has the opportunity of sharing with the state chief with the headlines of the national and international press. I see that you're just recently arriving from New York. Yes, haven't slept in 24 hours. Yes, you came New York, Panama, and then Panama, New York. So let's hope that we can hope a flight from New York to Caracas, so that will only be 4 hours and a half. Because having connections can be a very hard problem, because you need to take your bags out and then put them back in because of the sanction problem. So we hope that we soon can open direct flights. Mr. President, I am receiving from here that we're going to comment on the news that are headlines of national and international headlines, and I would like to take the decency of starting with the UN subject, because I had the opportunity of being there and seeing firsthand the whole debate of this week that has been very intense and may be finished with the last activity that was probably the most important, which was the meeting of Ivan Gil with Antonio Guterres, where he expressed his solidarity to the foreign minister of Venezuela with the situation that is happening in the Caribbean Sea. And I would like to start asking you your opinion on this subject, because you might have a significant importance, because this week of the UN, the Venezuela subject was very hot. Yes, I believe that with a lot of success has finished our delegation's activities in New York, where the UN has its headquarters. We also had our foreign minister that was also just landing. I believe that our entire delegation had a very extraordinary agenda with the support of the different groups like the ALCA, the CELAC, that also united with the BRICS, and the whole movement of countries that are not aligned, that joins 120 countries, had also a very important communicate the support of China, Russia, and in general of all of the countries that met with the foreign minister and left in private and in public their support to the right of the integrity and the peace of Venezuela. All of this was talked with the UN Secretary General in a good feedback of the private conversation. The position of the UN Secretary General was that the Latin America and the Caribbean has to be preserved as a peace territory over everything else. And his amazement on the face of this escalade that's very extravagant, that for almost 7 weeks has been announced and has been launched against a peaceful country like Venezuela. There's been a great debate. That is the part that you can see, what journalists see, what everyone sees, but there's a part as well that people don't see, that is these decisive support of countries here and there. The speech of the foreign minister of Cuba, Bruno Rodriguez, the position of support of the Republic of Iran, the support of Russia, the support of China, the support of all of the countries of Nicaragua, of the President of Bolivia, well, really, of all of the first ministers of the Caribbean, only one voice in support of Venezuela in the Caribbean, because the Caribbean wants peace. And what we have done in these 7 weeks of aggression and threats never seen before has been to preserve the right to the peace of the whole Caribbean region of South America, and to be able to continue saying the truths of Venezuela. Also, it is very notorious. You haven't asked me, but I will answer it before you ask me, because I can read your mind. Let's drink a coffee. Guess what I'm going to comment? One of the most notorious things of the United Nations. What do you think I'm going to comment now? I'm going to launch a hypothesis. You see that there's things that haven't been seen but have also been news, and I agree. There was something else that wasn't seen but it was news to me, and it was the support of the position of the United States in the official discourses. Even countries that follow the United States, like Europe or many countries in Latin America, abstain themselves of supporting the speech of Donald Trump. And this for me is very important, because what we're seeing is that this position of the United States in the Caribbean Sea has generated a factor of cohesion and of joining the position of Latin America facing the north, but without even countries from the right, not very affiliated with Venezuela, showed a speech, a discourse that totally coincides with the position of Venezuela and of Latin America as a zone of peace, no to war. There was a boomerang effect against this offensive. Even the countries in Latin America with different ideological positions have joined themselves and stopped, like in many cases we have seen in the past, to support the speech of Washington. That was something that wasn't seen during the speeches, but for me it's very significant. You were covering and you were able to see everything. I saw some parts of the information, and I also searched, and in general I am very well informed generally. That doesn't mean that sometimes I miss some things, but it is very important, the analysis you just did. It was not what I was intending to say, but it is very important because it is very significant, the change of time and of the times that is being consolidating, because a new era is being consolidated. Like Silvio's song, the era is birthing a heart where the heart has been born, the heart of a multipolar world that doesn't accept the orders of any country. Before, I used to be foreign minister for almost 7 years, and then as president I was many times. I was there 10 years ago when the 70 years of the UN, it was a very huge party. The first speech of 10 years ago was done by Pope Francis. It was a beauty. It was unforgettable. Then we went to greet him. He hugged us and he gave us his blessing. Now it's been 80 years in the middle of great threats. A world war, as we could say, has been unleashed. The Third World War has already started in the scenes of the threats of the NATO and Ukraine against the Russian people, and the series of extermination against Gaza and all of the Arab countries and Iran. It would look like the threats of Venezuela, the great catastrophic war that they want to develop in the Caribbean and South America. These are three war scenarios and the war threats there in the Chinese area. So it is very characteristic, and I can say it with knowledge, that once the President of the United States talks in the UN General Assembly, then at least 100 countries will repeat the main ideas of the President of the United States. And